What if I told you that the single most trusted movement of your entire life, the simple act of walking, has quietly turned against you after the age of 70, and you have no idea it is happening? After more than 25 years working with patients in their 70s and 80s, I can tell you that nearly every fall I have ever treated began the same way, with one tiny invisible change in how the foot meets the ground. Not a weakness, not dizziness, something far smaller and far more dangerous, and tonight in your own hallway, with no equipment and no gym, you can begin reversing it in 10 steps. Here is what most people never hear from their doctor. After 70, falls are not simply accidents. They are the leading cause of injury-related death in older adults, and the vast majority of them do not happen on icy sidewalks or steep staircases. They happen on flat, familiar floors, in kitchens, in bedrooms, on the way to the bathroom at 2 in the morning, and the cause is almost never what families assume. It is not weakness alone, it is not dizziness alone, it is one specific invisible change in how the feet meet the ground, a change so subtle that nobody around you can see it, but your body feels it every single step. Today, I am going to walk you through 7 warning signs that your walking pattern has already shifted into the danger zone, and one simple change, one small adjustment that you can begin practicing tonight in your own hallway that could genuinely save your life. No equipment, no gym, no expensive devices, just one quiet adjustment to a movement you have already taken a billion times. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will look at your very next step differently than you have in decades. I'm Dr. Andrew Collins, and for over 25 years I've worked with patients in their 60s through 90 seconds, focusing on preventative wellness, circulation, blood sugar, and the small daily habits that determine whether we age with strength or with fear. In that time, countless patients have come into my office after a fall sometimes with a bandaged wrist, sometimes recovering from a fractured hip, and almost all of them ask the same question. Doctor, I don't understand. I was just walking. I've crossed that floor every day for 30 years. What happened to me? If that question has ever crossed your mind, or you've seen it cross the mind of a parent or spouse, hear me clearly. You are not careless, not clumsy, not aging poorly. You're simply living in a body whose walking pattern has quietly shifted over time, and no one ever sat you down to explain it. Today, I'm going to be that doctor. And if this is the kind of content you want more of, take a second to subscribe and turn on the bell, so the next video reaches you when it matters most. Here is exactly what I am going to walk you through today. I am going to share 7 specific warning signs that your walking pattern has already drifted into what I call the danger zone, the pattern I see in nearly every patient who has fallen in their own home. We will go through them one at a time. For each one, I will explain what is really happening inside your body, why it matters more after 70 than at any other age, what the research and major institutions like the CDC and the American Heart Association have observed about it, and one simple action you can begin tonight to start reversing it. Then, at the very end, after all 7 signs, I will give you the master change, the single adjustment that connects every one of these signs into one unified fix. If you only remember one thing from this entire video, that final piece is the one I want to live in your mind. So stay with me all the way through, because the last sign and the master change are where everything comes together. Sign number 1. Your steps have quietly become shorter than they used to be. Most people assume short steps are simply a sign of being careful, and being careful sounds like a good thing. But here is what is actually happening inside your body. When your stride shortens, the muscles that drive your hips, your glutes, and the deep stabilizers of your core stop firing the way they were designed to. Think of your hips like a pair of well-oiled hinges. When you take long, confident steps, those hinges swing fully open and fully closed, staying lubricated, staying strong. When your steps shrink, those hinges barely move, and the muscles around them quietly fall asleep. According to general clinical observations from physical therapy research, stride length is one of the strongest predictors of fall risk after 70, stronger in many cases than grip strength or even balance testing. I remember a patient named Margaret, 74 years old, a retired schoolteacher, who came to me convinced her balance was the problem. We measured her stride. It had shrunk almost 6 inches without her noticing. Tonight, I want you to try one thing. Walk down a hallway in your home and consciously reach the heel of your front foot forward, just 2 inches further than feels natural. That tiny adjustment begins waking up the hinges your body has been neglecting. Sign number 2. Your feet barely lift off the ground. This is what we call a shuffle, and it is one of the most dangerous walking patterns I see in adults over 70. When you shuffle, your foot slides forward instead of lifting cleanly, which means there is almost no clearance between the bottom of your shoe and the floor. Imagine Driving a car with the bumper scraping the road, any small bump, any pebble, any rug edge becomes a catastrophe. The muscles responsible for lifting your foot, your hip flexors, and the small stabilizers in your shins weaken from underuse, and the longer you shuffle, the weaker they become. The CDC has long emphasized that more than half of falls in older adults occur on level ground, and the shuffle is one of the central reasons why. I want you to do something for me right now. Stand up, take 5 steps, and pay attention. Is there a sound of sliding? If you hear it, your feet are telling you the truth. Tonight, simply practice lifting your toes higher with each step, exaggerated at first, until your feet learn the motion again. Sign number 3. Your eyes have started drifting down toward the floor as you walk. Many of my patients tell me they look down because they want to see what is in front of them. It feels safer, but here is the surprising truth. When your gaze drops, your entire head drops with it, and your head weighs roughly 10 pounds, that weight pulls your chest forward, your shoulders round, and your center of gravity shifts in front of your feet rather than over them. Your body becomes a tower that is leaning. The Mayo Clinic has discussed how postural alignment after 60 is one of the most overlooked predictors of fall risk, and the head position is the starting domino. I had a patient, Robert, 78, a former engineer, who could not understand why he kept stumbling forward. We watched him walk, and his eyes never came up. We taught him to lift his gaze to the far end of the room, and within 2 weeks his stumbling stopped. Tonight, when you walk through your home, look at the wall ahead, not at the floor. Your body will follow your eyes. Now, before we go to sign number 4, I want you to do something quick for me. If you are still watching, if any of these signs are sounding even a little familiar, type the word yes in the comments below. Not for me, for you, because committing to that word in writing tells your own mind that you are taking this seriously. People who type it are the ones who actually change. I will be reading the comments, and I want to see you there. Sign number 4. Your arms have stopped swinging naturally at your sides. Watch a child walk across a playground and you will see beautiful, rhythmic arm swing. Watch many adults over 70 and the arms hang stiff, almost frozen. Most people think this is no big deal, but it is. Your arm swing is what we call counter-rotation. It is the mechanism that balances your stride, stabilizes your spine, and protects your hips. When the arms stop swinging, the entire trunk loses its natural rhythm, and the small muscles deep along your spine, the muscles that quietly protect you from twisting falls, weaken dramatically. Harvard researchers have noted that coordinated arm and leg movement is one of the strongest indicators of neurological health in older adults. I remember Eleanor, 81, who carried a purse on one arm everywhere she went, even inside her own home, for 30 years. Her arm swing on that side had completely disappeared. We replaced the purse with a lightweight crossbody bag. And within a month her gait had transformed. Tonight, simply walk down your hallway with both arms free and let them swing. Feel the rhythm return. Sign number 5. You have started leaning slightly forward when you walk. This forward lean feels like leaning into motion, like leaning into a strong wind, but it is doing the opposite of what you think. When your chest tilts forward of your hips, your body is in a constant state of trying to catch itself. Your weight is no longer stacked safely over your feet. It is racing ahead of them. Imagine carrying a tall glass of water and holding it out at arm's length. That glass will spill far more easily than one held close to your chest. Your torso is that glass. The American Heart Association has highlighted that posture affects not just balance but also circulation, breathing depth, and even blood pressure regulation, all of which matter enormously after 70. A forward lean compresses your lungs, shortens your breath, and makes every step harder. Tonight, when you stand up from your chair, take a moment to feel your heels press into the floor and your chest rise slightly. Walk from that position. Feel the difference. Sign number 6. You have started widening your stance to feel more stable. This one surprises people, because a wider stance feels safer, the way a wider base feels safer on a stool. But your body was not designed to walk like a stool. When you widen your stance, you actually reduce the work your stabilizing muscles have to do, and over time those muscles, the deep glute muscles, the inner thigh muscles, and the small muscles around your ankles, weaken even more. So the wider you stand, the weaker you get, and the weaker you get, the wider you stand. It becomes a quiet, downhill loop. The National Institute on Aging has noted that base of support is a delicate balance, and an artificially wide base can actually worsen fall risk over time. I had a patient, Henry, 83, a retired carpenter, who had widened his stance so gradually he never noticed. We narrowed his stance just 2 inches at a time, week by week, and his balance returned. Tonight, simply check your feet when you stand. Are they significantly wider than your hips? If so, gently bring them closer to hip width and feel your stabilizers reawaken. Sign number 7. You have started avoiding turning your head while you walk. Many older adults stop turning their head because turning makes them feel dizzy, off balance, or unsure. So they begin walking like a statue, eyes locked forward, neck stiff. But here is what is happening inside the small balance organs in your inner ear. Depend on head movement to stay calibrated. When you stop turning your head, those organs become deconditioned, and your balance system loses one of its most important inputs. It is like a satellite dish that has been pointed at the same spot for years. It stops scanning. Studies suggest that vestibular function, the inner ear balance system, is highly responsive to gentle daily challenge, even in your 70s and 80s. Tonight, while walking down your hallway, gently turn your head left, then right, then back to center, slowly and safely, with a wall close by. You are not just walking, you are recalibrating the very system that keeps you upright. Now, I want you to look at all 7 of these signs together. Shorter steps, sliding feet, downcast eyes, frozen arms, a forward lean, a widened stance, a stiff neck. Read them again in your mind, because here is what most people miss. These are not 7 separate problems. They are 7 symptoms of one single underlying change. And that change is this: you have stopped striking the ground with your heel first. That is the master lever. That is the one change that, if you make it, begins reversing every other sign on this list at the same time. When your heel meets the ground first, your stride naturally lengthens. When your stride lengthens, your foot lifts higher. When your foot lifts higher, your gaze rises with it. When your gaze rises, your chest opens. When your chest opens, your arms begin to swing. When your arms swing, your stance narrows. And when your stance narrows, your balance system reawakens. One change, 7 cascading benefits. Think of it like the master switch in your home, the one that powers every light in every room. You do not have to fix 7 things. You only have to fix one. Reach the heel forward. Land on the heel first. Roll through the foot. Push off through the toes. That is the entire prescription. That is how the human body was designed to walk. The way you walked when you were 20. The way you walked when you were 40, and the way your body still remembers how to walk now, if you give it permission to remember. The CDC, the National Institute on Aging, and decades of physical therapy research all converge on this single mechanical truth. The heel strike is the foundation of safe walking after 70. Lose it, and everything else collapses. Restore it, and everything else rebuilds. So here is what I want you to do tonight before the sun goes down. Stand at one end of the longest hallway in your home, with one hand near a wall or a sturdy piece of furniture for safety. Take 10 slow, deliberate steps. With each step, reach your heel slightly forward and let it touch the floor first. Just 10 steps, that is all. I am asking, because in those 10 steps, you will be sending a signal to your brain, to your hips, to your nerves, and to your muscles that they have not received in a very long time, the signal that you are still in command of your body, and you intend to stay that way. Do this every night for the next 7 nights, and I promise you, you will feel a difference in how you move, how you stand, and how confident you feel on your own 2 feet. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. It tells me to keep making content like this for you. Subscribe if you have not already, because next week I am releasing a follow-up video on the 3 foods that quietly weaken your leg muscles after 70, and you do not want to miss it. And most importantly, share this video with someone you love who is over 50, your spouse, your parents, your sibling, your dear friend, because the simple act of forwarding this could be the moment that prevents their next fall. You have the knowledge now. Use it. Walk steady, walk heel first, and walk with confidence. This video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personalized medical advice from your physician.